Guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about the changing weather conditions and those first baits that you can throw once your waters start warming up and you can start getting out there to fish. It's still pretty cold here in northern Illinois. We still got ice on some of the ponds and lakes, and we've got snow on the ground, so I can't get out there. But I'm going to go over some baits that I like to throw once the water starts thawing, once the temps start going up, and once I can get to those lakes and ponds. So stick around. Today's video is going to be a good one. Alright everyone, so today we're going over some baits for that winter to spring transition, but mainly we're focusing on this colder water, the transition from winter into that where they stage up for pre-spawn and move into the spawn. So fish right now, they're going to be lethargic. They're in cold water, right? They're not going to want to be moving. They're not going to be chasing stuff. They want easy meals that you can really put in front of them and keep in front of them for a while. You want to be in that strike zone. So one of the key things that I like is a jerk bait for that colder water. It's a great bait, right? And using it all throughout the year works well. But for me, at least, it shines in that colder water temperature, early pre-spawn, into the pre-spawn, as well as after the post-spawn. This one happens to be Guggen Baits jerk bait. It's their Scout. I have not used any of their hard baits other than the cranks yet, so this is going to be a new one for me. It's a real nice bait. Got it in a fairly natural looking pattern here, 4 to 6 feet diving, suspending. So anything really natural, something suspending is great, because you want to keep your bait in the strike zone for as long as possible, so you really give that fish a good look at it and really commit to it. Another good bait to be throwing right now for those fish is a jig. A lot of people throw football head jigs this time of year, and really work it slow on the bottom, and really drag that jig, really soak it in the water, really soak it in the strike zone, really working the bait slow. The key in the winter time and moving into that pre-spawn is working that bait slow, really soaking it, giving the fish the opportunity to take it and really look at it, and move from there. A variety of different colors work. I kind of want to use natural colors, so black and blue. Here's a little bit of a green pumpkin brown, I guess, as well as this kind of style, a little bit more of the brownish tones, brown black. Really work well. And again, jigs all around are great. I have a jig almost all year tied on, if not all year tied on. Weights and colors differ for me, is what the time of the season. But mainly I got a black and blue and some type of a natural green pumpkin bluegill pattern jig tied on at all times. And you can really pair it with any type of trailer in the wintertime, especially in those colder water temperatures when the fish aren't as active. I tend to throw a bait with a little less action, and I also let it dictate to me, let the fish dictate what they want, right? So in my case, I normally throw on a bandito bug. I pair that with a jig. It's a great bait. A little bit more subtle action out of the flippers, the legs. What I do is I actually pull off the legs on the body and just leave the flippers, the main legs, the appendages on the back end on, and really just give that subtle action as I'm dragging that jig along the bottom. Another bait that's good as we move into from winter into the pre-spawn time is a crankbait, and I primarily throw square bills during that time, And normally my color for square bills during this time is some combination of like a red and orange, or straight red and black. A bolder, darker color during this time I've seemed to have more success with. So as you can see, here are two examples of the cranks that I would use. Again, a Guggen Bates square bill, and then just I think this is a Strike King square bill, but both in great colors. You got that red and black. Here you got a more red, black, orange, and then a yellow belly. I do like throwing a square bill also. Once those fish get a little bit more active, they're not apt to bite on a square bill, when they're really, really lethargic. It is a moving bait, it is a reaction bait. So once your temps get a little bit warmer, that's when I switch to a square bill. Also, I start throwing that, but this is also a good early bait that I do enjoy throwing as well. On the same topic, a lipless. Lipless always good too. A lipless is a good option as well. You can really work it and yo-yo it, or straight retrieve it, or throw some pauses in there and then crank down on the real hard. So there's different ways of working a lipless, but it also has had some success for me also during this transitional period right before the spawn. Again, I keep it simple, a red and black, a little lighter belly color. A great another option here for you to throw early on. Moving on to some plastics. Again, the fish are going to be lethargic. They're going to be looking for an easy meal. And one of my favorite things to throw that I found success is some type of a Ned rig, or a smaller profile bait on either like a shaky head or a Ned head, something along those lines. And for me, I like the rattling Ned from Guggen Bates. The Ned is really a good option as well, because you can again soak that bait in that strike zone, in that fish's face, and really get them to commit to your bait, even though they're lethargic. So I would definitely suggest maybe a Ned on this early season game here, with trying to catch some fish. Another great option, in my opinion, that I've seen some success with in this early winter transition and into the pre-spawn spawn is a drop shot. Drop shotting, is normally used for when the bite is tough or the fish are really particular what they want to eat. Again, the whole premise of this is you're able to soak that bait in front of that fish or in that strike zone for an extended period of time, and really have the fish, one, get a good look at your bait, and two, really have them commit to that bait. And again, it's a smaller profile, a lot easier for that fish to maybe commit to it this time of the year. They're not going to be as aggressive towards a bigger profile bait in the winter time. So I think my success that I found was with this smaller profile. They were willing to commit a little bit more frequently to it. Again, the Guggen Bates Bandito Bug, great as a trailer option because of that more subtle action that you get out of these large appendages. Like I said, I normally rip these side appendages off and just keep the big ones off on the back end going. It's a great flipping bait too, great for punching too, and we'll get into that in a later video, but just including it in this video as a possible jig trailer to throw on there, just for that more subtle action. And then also we have, you can't forget about some swim baits. These happen to be the Saucy Swimmers. They're in the smaller size, so I'm prepping for that smaller Match the Hatch early on here. This, I would say, maybe not so much winter. I've seen my success with, but more closer to the transition of the pre-spawn spawn area. Put this on an underspin and just work it nice and slow, creep in the bottom, or just above the bottom. And you should have some good success on this also. Like I said, I pair this with an underspin just to give that flash, that a little bit of vibration. Again, water temps getting a little bit warmer. Those fish can get a little bit more active as that happens, right? From this winter transition where they're lethargic and not really chasing anything. As that starts warming up, as they get closer to the spawn, they want to start feeding. They get aggressive, they get territorial. You put this on an underspin and buzz it by one of them, they're more apt to lash out and strike at it just because of their aggression. Really another great bait to consider in this early transition from winter all the way into the spawn. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick review of some of the baits that I like to use here early on, once I'm able to get out on the water here to that, from that winter to all the way up to that pre-spawn and spawning condition. These are just a few of my favorite baits that I enjoy throwing or seen success on. Obviously there are other baits and other things that we could talk about, but these were the ones I wanted to highlight. Again, you know, you got your jerk baits, crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, jigs. You got all your smaller profile soft plastics, Ned rig, drag and drop, the jig trailer with a little bit less action, and some smaller swim baits for when that water starts warming and you get closer, when those fish start being more active, a little bit more aggressive as they approach that pre and spawning condition. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to check out the description for all my social media, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you on the next one.